The waving of
Number
his knife
one,
and
he's
fork,
breathing.
talking with food in his mouth,
Spitting the
monopolizing
food on her.
conversation. But it is an
Regurgitation.
exciting story. It's
Doing
about trip
a
in the mountains.
doing an impression of Tor Johnson during a meal.
This isn't the kind of an ending to the story that Bob had in mind, but it is quicker and maybe better. At least it stopped Bob from making
That's a
any more
low blow,
mistakes.
narrator.
Betty
That's a
too
low
had
blow.
discovered
Come
that
on.
she had forgotten a couple of items of behavior. She is thinking that perhaps she and Bob both need to be embarrassed a bit to make them admit that their manners aren't as good as they should be. Bob may be thinking
I'd like
the
to
same
see
thing.
somebody try to do
because
this type of
he
thing nowadays.
has decided to make a lot of changes. The others, of course, say nothing. Betty decides that the first thing for her to do is to regain her poise. Just act as though no errors had been made. But she will be more observing of her own manners and those of others too. Betty feels safe in her way of eating a roll and jelly. Is there
He
anything
feels
in what
unsafe,
Bernie
on
and
the other
Helen are
hand.
doing that would get your attention right away? Was there anything in the way he helped himself to more jelly? How about the way he holds his knife and fork? Or the way he cuts his meat? And takes it to his mouth with his left hand.
How dare
When you
he?
are eating meat,
Left-handedness is not
fork
allowed.
in your right hand or your left. Is there a question of correctness here? Helen is
Well,
also
probably
using her
there
left
has
hand.
been in everything else.
Betty holds the fork in her left hand while cutting the meat, and then passes the fork to her right hand for placing it in her mouth.
And
This
then
is
kind of leaves
zigzaggy.
it there for a bit.
She has noticed that the British and continental people usually use their left hands. But now that she is beginning to take her manners
Now that she's
seriously,
beginning to become a
she wonders if
full-fledged
there's a matter of
American.
correctness involved, or whether both ways are equally correct. One way American, the other European. Betty wishes she were as certain of
nationality in the
that
bathroom.
point as she is of how her knife
I'm
should
gonna
be
try
placed.
harder next time.
Bob has never heard of zigzag or continental ways of eating meat, but he is on the watch out for such things now. And as soon as he
And
notices
we
what
don't
Betty
really
is
know
doing, he
why.
is ready to follow her example, whether she is right or wrong. He uses his left hand all right, even if he does take an oversized bite. Bob congratulates himself on trying a new way. He and Betty have a lot to learn. At least there are no further mishaps as the meat course is finished and the table cleared for dessert.
Good lord, we're through 2 parts?
Bob is happy now.
How long
and
is this
proud of
movie?
himself. Formal parties like this are really enjoyable when one isn't afraid of doing the wrong thing.
Well,
Bob has reached
about
the point
that, no
where
they
he
aren't.
feels that since his intentions are good and he is watching himself, that all is well. If you just try to figure
Of course,
out what
Bob's
it is
intentions
for
were
each
good when he
movie,
murdered that
you'll find that
prostitute,
there
but
is
look where it
no
got
harm.
him.
After all, correct manners are simply the way one person shows his consideration for another. In other words, proper manners are your way of showing common politeness. As far as
Why do you call it common politeness when it's not so common?
Had. And to top it off, a big birthday cake that Betty had made for him. He really appreciates this. For the cake is a symbol, like the whole dinner, of friendship. A very delicious symbol of the regard that Betty and her friends hold for Bob, particularly Betty.
Bow, chicka, bow. Bob's getting his ass some tail, as we like to call it.
And so is the blowing out of the candle. But that is a modern touch of avoiding
All right,
possible
there.
germs being blown
Eat
on the
up.
cake. Serving the meat course upset Bob. Apparently serving the cake has difficulties too.
You ruined my life.
This isn't certain that she should be helping Bob.
But
She worried about leaving the table to bring in the cake in the first place.
she
Betty wondered if
kind of does
the
that.
serving should be left to the housekeeper. What would you say?
I don't
There
care.
is no
I don't
denying
even know
that
why I'm
Bob
watching
needs help.
this.
He is having trouble with the serving implements again.
He's trying to serve somebody half the cake again.
From the shape and the size of the blades which to use. Cutting and serving your own birthday cake would seem to be a pleasure. But could you actually do this any more gracefully than Bob is?
I don't
Betty's health may
know.
not be as great as she thinks.
This movie's just turned preconceptions of reality upside down. What is right? What is wrong? Is up even up or... I don't know. Could I do better?
Bob accompanied Betty to her place. assisting her with her chair before resuming his serving. He is at least trying to change his habits.
In the meantime, everybody else is bored out of their skull.
And you notice? He forgot his napkin and sat on it. He is serving smoothly now and is not distracting his friends with his difficulties. They are free again to chat as they wish.
Well, not really as they wish, according to the strict guidelines we have set forward for them.
More problems than they expected. As we are seeing, people like Betty and Bob, who want to entertain their friends and have good times together, forget that poor manners can really interfere with the fun of the party. There is no fun in being worried, unsure, or ill at ease.
I'm having a great
It is simpler in the long run to face your problems, find out what the correct answer is, and then when you act in a way that you know for certain is correct, your mind is perfectly free. Of course, all this isn't accomplished just by wishing.
Free bird.
There are still habits that have first to be detected and then broken. This is hard.
Like
and new
smoking,
habits have
for
to be
example.
formed. But a little study of it will help greatly.
Well, a little study of it will help greatly.
Once you have formed
This
correct
movie's in
habits
foreign
and manners,
tongues.
you'll find that they give you a sense of confidence. That is a reward in itself. Our party is ending, but let's hope that for you it is, in another sense, just a beginning.
Yeah.
As you think of Betty and Bob and their problems,
Yeah,
compare your own
I'll
manners.
do that.
Don't forget that it is by their manners that polite people the world around show their consideration for one another. A dinner party is just one way of enjoying company of your friends. A good meal, good company, real enjoyment, that's what a dinner party is for.
Minus the enjoyment